Hello and a very good day everyone. So today we will learn on Power Query, whereby we will try to compare two database. We will try to import from Excel file, we will try to import from folder, and we will try to merge query to make a comparison. So basically what do I have is, I do have a database that shows inventory listings, which has the items, the category, the subcategory, the supply name, the number of stock available, and the reorder point. So basically, if just say the stock hits the reorder point or below the reorder point, that means the procurement team need to actually trigger or contact the supplier to order the inventories. And then we also have a particular database, basically the sales transaction for all the inventories. That means the transaction ID, the transaction date, the time, the location, the cashier, the SKU, and yes, the cost and also the sales. So what I want to know is, basically as an inventory analyst, I actually need to know what is the stock available on the inventory list. So I need to actually make a comparison and then highlight, and then let my manager know that what is the stock available, how many is available, and so on. So now let's get started. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I'm just need to actually import the data of this particular file. So I'll close this file and I'll close this file too. So if you notice carefully, I saved this file under my desktop. So I want to import this from a file, and eventually I want to import this from a folder, because all these particular files will actually accumulate or cumulative the sales. So instead of me capturing the sales by month, I need to count out the total sales so that I can make a comparison between the available stock and the stocks that has been sold off. So what I need to do is, first thing is, I need to import data from Excel. So I go to data, as you can see here. So I click on data, and then I click on get data, and then what I'll do is, from file and from Excel workbook. The purpose being is, I want to actually know the inventory listing. So I click it over here. You will notice that a box will appear. So you need to know where you save your file. So I save my file basically under my desktop. So desktop, and then I need to look at case study supermarket inventories, and I want to import this particular file. So I click over here and I press import. So once I press import, you will notice a box will appear. So in this particular box, what I want to do is, I want to select the particular worksheet. So normally in that one particular Excel file will have several worksheets. So I'm going to select this particular worksheet, and instead of pressing load, I'm going to press load to, because when you press load to, it gives you several options, like whether you want to load as a table, pivot table, pivot chart, but I'm only going to create a connection. So I'm going to press OK. So this database will load as a connection, and it will show connection only. So in this particular database, it has all the initial inventories balance. Next, what I want to do is, I want to actually import this particular data. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to drag this August file and put into the sales folder. So whatever the sales report I have, I park inside the folder, so that instead of importing from the particular file, I can actually import from the folder itself. So what I'm going to do is, the next thing is, I'm going to go back here, get data from file. Just now we select Excel workbook. Now we select from folder. So select from folder, you will notice a box will appear. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select the particular file. Okay, so now desktop, case study, I'm going to select this one time, not double click, because when you double click, it will go inside. So you need to click one time and you press open. So once you press open, you will notice a box will appear. So in this particular sales folder, we only have one file, which is the August file only. So what I'm going to do is, I also want to press combine and load to, because combine and transform means we'll go to Power Query. Combine and load means we'll load as a table format. I want to press combine and load to. So once I press combine and load to, you will notice that eventually a box will appear. So I'm going to select this particular worksheet, and then I'm going to press OK. So once I press OK, then they will ask us, what do you want to load? Whether you want to load as a table, pivot table, I only want to create a connection, and then I press OK. And then what I'm going to do is, eventually the connection has been formed. But if just say you want to edit, so what you can do is, you can actually right click over here, and then you can press edit. And if just say you accidentally close this particular pane, okay, you close this, don't worry, you can actually click under data, queries and connection, so it will pop out over here. So if just say you accidentally close, human error, no worries, you can click it over here. So what I want to do is, when I right click, you can just press edit and eventually it will be navigated to Power Query Editor. So right now we have two database like inventories, sales folder, and in the sales folder I don't want to show the sales report. I want to know that how much inventories has been gone on. So what I'll do is I'll press group by. So I want to actually create a group by, so I'll choose advanced, and then over here, because since we have source name, transaction ID, transaction date, I want to know the item SKU, basically the SKU code, and another grouping to actually show the item name, because when I have the name, then I can know which particular database and so on. And I want to calculate the sum, not the sum of sales, basically the sum of quantity sold, because if just say the inventory is being sold, the inventory will actually leave the company. So if just say the inventory being sold, I want to know how much remaining. So I'm going to click here, and here I'll put here total sales, and then press OK. So once I press OK, so now we get to know, okay, this is the item SKU, this is the item name, this is the total sales. So what's next is, the next thing that I want to do is, I can actually press close and load. So when you press close and load, eventually it will be updated over here. As you can see, eventually it will be updated over here. So now what I want to do, the next thing is, I actually want to merge between the inventories and also the sales order. So I'm going to click get data and then combine queries and merge. So once I press merge, you will notice a box will appear. I'm going to click here inventories, and I'm going to click here sales folder. So now we do have two different database. What I'm going to do next is, I'm not able to press OK. So I need to click the item SKU and I need to click it over here. So it matches 165 out of 165, because here we have about 165 inventories. Here we have the transaction. We have already grouped by, and we know here this is the total sales. Over here is the total available stock. So I want to know whether it hits the reorder point or not. So I can just press here OK. So when I press OK, you will notice it will go to Power Query. So what you need to do is, you need to just expand this, and I will just unselect the original column, and you can select what column that you want. So if you just say you don't want SKU, you don't want name, you can do that as well. So maybe in this case, I don't want the SKU, I don't want the name, I only want the total sales. So right now we know that we have about 91 units being sold for this particular product. So here this is the number stock available, this is the total sales. So this is the initial balance. So what I'll do first is, I'll minus first. So I'll select this column, I use my mouse, I select this column, I press Ctrl, I select total sales. Then I'll go to add column. So over here we have add column. Under add column, I go to standard, and I will choose minus or subtract, because I want to find the remaining balance. So I click it over here, and there you go. So here what I'll do is, I'll put here initial stock available, initial stock available quantity, and over here instead of subtraction, I'll put here this will not be initial, instead will be current stock available. So now we do have the initial balance and the current balance, and then I want to know whether my procurement team, they need to actually reorder or the trigger point and so on. So this is where I will use conditional column. Conditional column is something like the if function in the Excel, whereby we have a logic test and then whether there's a true or false. So I'll click it over here, a box will appear. So what happen is, I'll click the column name. If just say the current stock available is actually less than equal to, that means whenever it is equal to this or lesser than the reorder point, so instead of ABC, I'll just select a column and I'll choose reorder point. So this is where, if just say less means it will be low stock. Low stock means my procurement team will have to contact the supplier and they have to order. Otherwise, it is in stock. In stock means, that means it is available. And then I can rename this as a status. Stocks status, and then I press OK, and there you go. So now we have in stock, meaning to say we have sufficient stock. That means my procurement team, they don't have to alert, they don't have to be triggered and so on. And then I can just click here and then change into a text format. So right now this is my data, whereby we have total sales, current stock available and so on. So what I'll do next is, instead of naming the merge, what I can do is, I'll put here the current inventories balance. So you can actually name it to other better name, and I can go to home and I can press close and load. By pressing close and load, you will notice immediately it will load as a table in a new worksheet. So right now, we do have the initial stock balance and we also have the current stock balance. So what happened if just say we have September file, a new file. So what happened is, thanks to Power Query, I don't have to redo again. I need to go back to my folder. So this month is actually August. So the next month is September. So what I'll do is I select the September, I drag put into the sales folder, and then I go back to my Excel file and I right click anywhere on the table and I press refresh. So once I press refresh, you will notice that right now there are changes. Initially it shows about 91 and different numbers, but now when I click refresh, automatically it changes and automatically the current stock available will be reduced. We can try this one more time, meaning to say if just say we put the October file, we drag the October and put in the sales folder. So right now our sales folder, we have about 3 different files, 3 items. So when I go back to my Power Query, to my Excel file, so right now when I right click over here and I press refresh, you will notice eventually there are some updates and over here there will be changes. So meaning to say, you can actually prepare a pipeline, a process to know where is your data source, how you want to import the data, and if just say the subsequent months, you don't have to work hard, you can just right click and refresh. Automatically Power Query can automate your work.